Monday, September 24th, 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Guys, a quick look at the most recent tropical storm activity and some future models that are showing some impacts in possibly Arizona, maybe the West Coast in the coming days. It's just a forecast for now, could change, but right now we could see tropical storm force winds in Arizona in about a week. But for now, this is what we know. We've got Kirk spinning down here in the lower Atlantic, and it actually is currently wrestling a dust cloud from the Sahara Desert. That's Kirk right there trying to get through that dust cloud. I don't know if it will or not. Some models showing it getting through, remaining a weak tropical storm, never developing into a hurricane. I don't think it will do much. It did come off of the west coast of Africa right there. It came off pretty much rotating counterclockwise, and within a 24-hour period it was a named tropical storm. And we're seeing more of that same type of energy coming off right now. Let me stop this as I do this video. This is a big collection of thunderstorms that, in my opinion, definitely has potential to become possibly the next named tropical storm, even a hurricane. That's a lot of energy right there, and that's exactly how Kirk began. That's how Irma began. That's how Florence began. The only problem Kirk ran into was some wind shear and this dust cloud. So if it weren't for that, Kirk would be sailing right along. But it's in the middle of this dust right now, so don't expect much from Kirk, to be honest. But there's something back here that wouldn't surprise me at all if this doesn't become at least a tropical storm in the near future. Right now it's too early. None of the models are showing anything other than what you see right here on radar because it's too soon. It just came off of the African coast. But I do think it does have potential to become a named storm at least. This is Leslie, and the only thing it's going to do is sit here and spin for days, and then it looks like it's going to impact Portugal and Spain. Watch this. Let's move it ahead. We're here at windy.com. This is Friday, Saturday, and you can see a storm brewing over here in the East Pacific. That's the storm that could move very quickly up through Arizona. Watch this. And then you're going to see Leslie take off to the north and then turn right into Spain. I don't know if this model goes far enough up. Yeah, you kind of get the idea. Here comes this storm here moving very quickly up towards Arizona. And at one point, this storm is forecasted to be at least a Category 3. Won't be making landfall as a Category 3, but look. Okay, let's go over here first. It's not named yet. It hasn't even formed yet. These are just what the forecasted models are showing. And they're all pretty much in agreement that there is something going to form right there by next week and make landfall into the Arizona area. This is, I'm trying to show you Leslie. It's still sitting there by Wednesday of next week, not really doing anything except going in circles. Kirk has already faded out, not doing too much. The system that I just showed you that came off of the west coast of Africa, still too early for the models to even process this information, but don't be surprised if you see a named storm come out of that area in the next 24 hours. Back to the west coast of the United States. Right now, I don't think anything too major in the Atlantic Ocean for the next several days. A lot of activity in the East Pacific once again. Here's this storm going up through Arizona rather quickly. Look at that. And then it just takes off. And those are strong winds. Those are hurricane force winds in Arizona a week from tomorrow. And then this storm here is expected to make landfall in Mexico in about a week. That's as far up as we can go. Actually, this storm here. Possible landfall in Hawaii in the coming days. Next week, another storm. Watch over here. Okay, that's one model. Let me show you what VentureSky is showing. Step it ahead. This is today. We've still got Kirk and Leslie. Kirk is wrestling the dust cloud. Makes it almost up to the Lesser Antilles and then kind of fades out. So Kirk shouldn't be a problem. May redevelop as something, but I don't think so. Watch over here and then watch Hawaii. There's a big Cat 4, Cat 5 over in the West Pacific again. Supposed to make another Japan landfall again. That's about their 5th or 6th storm this year. This is interesting though right here. Starting this coming weekend, storm offshore with winds of over 110 miles an hour. Headed up towards the California Baja, making landfall on Monday, and then very quickly going up into Arizona, through Arizona in 24 hours. And there's another storm behind it that will make landfall supposedly somewhere in Mexico. Watch the storm here going towards Hawaii. Okay, this model doesn't go up far enough, but there is a model that I can show you a storm. Here we go. I think it's this one here. With possible landfall, there you go. See Hawaii? That's in the Honolulu, Kauai area by mid next week. And again, this is a long-range forecast that is, and more than likely, will change. But look at Arizona being impacted with hurricane force winds first part of next week. And when it's right there, it's got barometric pressures of around 935 millibars. That's a Cat 3 range. Could be a Category 4, making landfall, then quickly reducing down to at least a tropical depression. But we could see hurricane force winds in Arizona right out here in my neck of the woods first part of next week if these models are 100% accurate, and you know they're going to change. But this reminds me of the beginning of hurricane season when all of the storms were lined up like airplanes in the East Pacific Ocean. So I'm wondering if this is a precursor to what's going to happen in the Atlantic. This is how the season began. A bunch of hurricanes formed one after another in the East Pacific, and then the Atlantic picked up. Right now the Atlantic's pretty quiet, but the East Pacific will start to see more action as we move forward. But this system here off the west coast of Africa, it's much too early for this to be even inputted into the computer models. But give this another 24 hours and you might see a named storm, a new named storm, out here off the west coast of Africa. Don't know what it will do because of this dust cloud, but if we move at least the cloud forward, that's actually today right now. Let's step it forward a day at a time. See the cloud moving west with Kirk still kind of in it or underneath it as it moves towards right into the Lesser Antilles. And this is on the 26th. Now we're stepping ahead to the 27th. And you can see this area is pretty clear. So if this storm does develop, it's got a pretty clear shot. That's what happened to Florence. Florence got into a area that was open, didn't have a lot of dust, and it made its way to the U.S. mainland. That's still Leslie out there just spinning in the same basic location. It will. Models do show it going into Spain in about a week to 10 days. Let me see if I can find that model real quick. I think it's right here. Okay, here we go. This is Leslie. Watch what this model is showing. Next weekend, it starts to move south, and then it takes off north rather quickly, going right into Spain with some fairly high winds. And that's as far as it goes. But that's a long-range forecast. They can change and usually do, at least to some degree. But Leslie could impact Spain in the next 10 days. Long-range forecast, like I said, can and will change. But there is something that just came off the coast of Africa that's not in the computer models just yet. This is Kirk wrestling that dust cloud. This could be a named storm. And let me show you why. This is what I'm seeing right here. This activity, just like Kirk, came off the coast, rotating counterclockwise. This is Leslie, and the lines all mean something, okay? The orange is vortex, yellow is convergence, and the light blue is divergence, or vice versa. What it means is air inflow and outflow, okay? Look at Kirk. You can see it's got fairly decent outflows. That would be the yellow. And the intake is kind of having a hard time because of its position with regard to this dust cloud. But look at this system here that I just showed you, fresh off the west coast of Africa. This model is picking up its inflows and outflows, its convergence and divergence. And it's got stronger convergence and divergence than Kirk does right now, and this is less than an hour old. So once this data gets inputted into the computer models, I think we may see a named storm here. And it's got stronger signatures in some regard than Kirk. So look for that to possibly become the next named storm fresh off the west coast of Africa. Out here in Arizona, we could see a hurricane force storm the first part of next week if things continue as this model is suggesting. Hurricane force winds by the first part of next week, moving very rapidly through the state of Arizona up into Colorado, and then going through the midwestern part of the United States with probably heavy rain. There might be heavy rain here in Arizona, but it'll be brief because it's moving so fast. Very high winds coming far inland with that storm. And several other storms that are out there in the East Pacific, one that could impact Hawaii. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a super day and be safe out there.